How's it going, everyone? With Bungie now unlocking all strand fragments, for now they are able to be purchased via the Puka Pond, I went ahead and helped myself to a couple of very specific ones I had my eyes on. Now this build I'm about to show you can be shared with hunters and warlocks, but only the Titans can gain access to this combat flow the easiest. This build is all about ad control and ad clearing. This will be taking advantage of suspension and unraveling as well. To get in those descriptions just a little bit more, suspension, which I feel we all know by now, is to lift and tie the enemies up in the air, making them easy pickings. And unraveling, which is a verb a bit hard to obtain until now, is just duplicating your bullets. Of course, that is not the official description. The official description says, when enemies take additional damage, projectiles will spawn and seek out nearby targets. Now getting into the build. This does require a lot of upkeep on your melee. Luckily for Titans, you have 3, and they do a lot of damage. Now the build goes as such. On your subclass, you're going to want to have the fragments, Thread of Mind, which states that by defeating an enemy that is suspended, you will gain class ability energy, and it's no small amount. It looks to be around 20% each kill. This will help you keep the room in control. Now to keep the melee energy up, Thread of Fury is amazing. I know it doesn't look much on paper, but you gotta hear this out. Just by picking up a tangle and throwing it at an enemy, doesn't even have to kill them. You receive 20% per enemy that is hit by the explosion. Very helpful stuff. Next up is Thread of Warding. By picking up an orb, you gain Woven Mail. Now, other than the fact that Woven Mail makes you take reduced damage, we are using this for a different reason. It is to tie into one of your Titan aspects into the fray, which states that by having Woven Mail, you gain an increase in melee recharge. That plus Thread of Fury, you will never not have your melee up. Now for the pride and joy of the whole build, Thread of Propagation. By defeating an enemy with your powered melee, your strand weapons will gain Unraveling Rounds. Unraveling Rounds, while solo, lasts 7 seconds. But there is a mod in the artifact that if you're with a buddy, your Unraveling Rounds will last longer, so you might just want to keep that in mind for the day 1 raid. Now moving on to the mods to further solidify the build. Starting off with your headpiece, you're going to want to have a good old Siphon mod. Obviously of the strand variety, for you will want to be using a strand weapon for this build. This one mod ties into a lot. By picking up 1 orb, you receive Woven Mail and an increase in melee energy recharge, a weapon boost depending on whatever's on your legs, and of course, more super. But we already knew that part. I added on the additions to a hands-on mod, because periodic melee kills is the name of the game, so why not have extra super? On my arms, I maxed out the reloaders only because this strand weapon I decided to use has the slowest reload under the sun. I do not recommend this SMG. Now on my chest piece, it's just standard defense mods. Now for the legs. This is the damage boost area. I went with boosting my strand weapon, but in the end of the day, you can choose whatever element you want. You are picking up an orb, which will give you the damage boost anyways, so if you want to pair this with your heavy weapon or your special weapon, go right on ahead. Now finally for the class piece. I maxed out those outreaches. By using the class ability, you will be suspending enemies and giving you a spike in that melee energy. Now the combat flow is only 3 parts. You cast a barricade, you melee and add, and then you mow them down with your strand weapons. Don't let up. But what I advise is to treat it like you would with volatile rounds. Just tag every add, and then lay them down 1 by 1. What's happening here is a thing called compounding. Each bullet you land is a projectile spawned. And if that projectile lands on another ad, that will spawn another projectile. And therefore, before you know it, you have a full room of tiny little projectiles. Super fun stuff. Now, of course, there are weapons to pair with this. Refraining from the special weapons only because they aren't as reliable for consistent ad clear. There's only one we're eliminating from this list, which would be a sniper rifle called the Volta Bracket. But we do have a couple options that are more reliable. The Perp Tools Auto Rifle. This is an adaptive frame, so think of the same feel as Gnawing Hunger. And you can get this from the seasonal activities, a part of the Season of Defiance. Next, you have the Synchronic Roulette, which is the SMG you see in my gameplay. It is a precision frame, so fair warning. You can get this from Nimbus at his vendor or the Terminal Override activity. Next is Round Robin, which is a 120 hand cannon, so not my first pick either, unfortunately. And lastly, a Trials weapon called the Immortal. This might be your best choice, unfortunately. This is an aggressive frame, so think the Aikilos SMG. And of course, it can be attained from Trials of Osiris. Now I hope this video has helped you, and if it has, a like and subscribe would be much appreciated. Now go have fun, fellas. Peace.